Just like I was hearing in the news, don't know if it was for certain that they could restructure Dez's deal. There's no need to. Understand? And this is the problem that I have. Like, just like you were saying, Law, coddling the players. You didn't coddle other players. DeMarcus Ware got cut. Tony Romo, who was one of your best franchise ever, he basically got forced out by Dak Prescott. Now we're looking at Dez Bryant saying, well, we're going to have this love affair for him. You can't really have the love affair. And I'm not trying to say cut Dez Bryant. I'm not on the cut Dez Bryant train. But at the end of the day, this is reality. Every team, players get cut. Okay? This is the NFL. It's a business. And if you don't produce or it don't work out, that's what happens. Okay? And I understand, Dak Prescott has some do it, but Dak Prescott is 24. Dez Bryant is 29. And you don't think they don't look at that? If the shoe was on the other foot and Dez Bryant was 24 and Dak Prescott was 29, they were having these problems. Dak Prescott would probably be in line to be cut. That's just the reality. Man. They'd be probably looking at something else. Age, injury, production all comes in a factor of, are they going to keep you on the roster? And that's what they look at. And at the end of the day, if you're not meeting all those requirements, something's going to happen. It don't no matter who you are. When I knew it was real, when Jerry Rice and Joe Montana and all those guys were gone, that's when I knew it was real. If those guys are gone, why do we think Dez Bryant? It can't happen to Dez Bryant.
Nobody want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. Everybody falling in love with Dez Bryant. And they look at it from the aspect, and trust me, I love Dez Bryant too as well. I believe that, hell, he's still a number one receiver, but just not maybe for the Dallas Cowboys. And it just goes back and forward. I may be called an idiot for this, but hey, at the same time, I done seen fans say, well, I hope and I pray that Dez Bryant can go to another team and destroy the Cowboys. Wow. I'm saying like, wow, okay, well, I mean, and then everybody goes back to the aspect of Randy Moss, and they say, well, Randy Moss, when he got released from the whatever team that he got released from, I think the Raiders or what have you, went to the New England Patriots. For every Randy Moss,
Bryant ain't no damn Randy Moss,
right?
But here's the thing that kills me, Law.
Talk to me, man.
Here's the thing that kills me. When I hear people saying, "Oh, Dez Bryant gonna go to somebody to the Patriots," how come they're always mentioning the Patriots? How come you don't mention the Bengals or the Jaguars,
the Browns,
or the Titans? You don't mention them other teams. You know why? You know why you don't mention them teams? Because if Dez Bryant went with a Marcus Mariota, he's not gonna do anything. Okay, he's not. And I love Dez. I'm not disrespecting him, but he's not. He's not going to go to a regular team with a regular quarterback and dominate. They always mention the top-notch quarterbacks with Dez Bryant. You know why? Why do you hear Chris Carter and all those guys saying they don't think they have anything against Dez Bryant? They're telling the truth. And I'm going to say this about Dez, and if y'all want to get mad at me and dog me, you can. I don't care. But at the end of the day, I love Dez. But when Dez came out of college, I don't think Dez was a studier of the game. He's never been a studier of the game. He's just relied on that athletic ability. Now that is slowly going away. And I feel like the Cowboys coddled him all them years because you're Dez Bryant. And we feed the stars. We feed you. And there's no reason for him to learn or learn anything because I got Tony Romo as my quarterback. I don't really need to do anything. Now you got Dak Prescott, and man, he don't throw as good as Tony Romo. So best what? You got to learn a little bit more of them routes, and you're not really doing it. So those flaws are now starting to show where they didn't show before, and now those things are coming to the forefront where they didn't before. And if you don't learn the game like everybody else is saying, you will be gone at the NFL that quick.
Not for long league. And no, he couldn't say it even better, man. Think about this. And everybody says that, right? Ocho Cinco, did he went to the New England? And what happened?
He got cut. And you know what they said about you? What was they saying about Ocho? He didn't and he couldn't learn the playbook. And that's why they got rid of him. And I'm not disrespecting, but you know what? He was at Cincinnati and he didn't have to learn that because he was the man. And Carson Palmer was that quarterback. And he probably didn't have to learn all that stuff. You know what? But now when you come to New England, you ain't the man. Now you got to start over because ain't nobody looking at you like Ocho Cinco. You like a regular receiver like everybody else. And if you don't do this, you're going to get cut. And that's the reality. And he didn't learn it and he didn't know it. And what happened? You're gone. His career was over.
Yes, indeed, man. So this is not a Dez Bryant bash. This is a reality talk.
Reality.
Look, this is real talk, man. Y'all gotta
real,
understand.
man.
Matter of fact, who put it like this? Who gonna pay $16 million?
Nobody.
Who gonna pay $16 million? I know. I
mean, it's just like this. It's just like this, Law. You just seen Muhammad Wickerson just get cut, right? And they saved $11 million on that cap. You think he's gonna go somewhere and get that money that he was getting at the Jets? No, he's not, because everybody's looking at, you got cut. We don't have to pay you that any now, because guess what? You need a job now. So we can command what we're going to pay you, because you need a job right now. And there's other players getting recycled in the NFL, coming in the NFL draft right now, who are younger than you. You're 28 going on 29. So guess what? People need to understand, when you get about 27, 28 in the league, you ain't the man no more. And if you get cut, you have to present yourself, because all these younger players are coming in the league and they're going to replace you with younger, cheaper, better.
There was one Jerry Rice. There was probably T.O. He stretched that thing. T.O. They forced T.O. out of the league. Because T.O. still had just a little bit left in him. But that's all I'm saying. That's my topic on that. That's my end on that, you know. Here, what else you got, man?
Let's see. Do we want to, staying on the Dez topic, do we want to kind of point out the competition committee's ruling as well?
Oh, Lord, yes.
Yes.
Go ahead. I'm going to let you touch that law first. Lord have mercy.
Look here. We knew that it was a catch in 2014. And we saw what happened. Was Cole Beasley wide open in the flats? Yes. I think Jason Witten, old reliable, was wide open too as well. Romo went for the juggler. Dez Bryant caught the ball. Made the football move. Dove for the end zone. Dove for the end zone. And if you go frame by frame, and now I can consider not a crazy football guy, because now when I say go scene by scene, inch by inch, and you can really look at that ball and you will never see that ball touch the ground. But I digress. The NFL is a not for long league. We all know that. But the NFL, to me, has been coming more and more like a WWE type of feel. It's always something that's so political in a sense, that even with the whole thing that they did last year with the flag anthem and the whole thing with Papa John's and this guy losing his endorsement, a whole gamut of stuff with the NFL. They put their fingers too much in stuff, and all I want to do is go back to Paul Tagliabue days. I love Paul Tagliabue.
Yeah, Paul Tagliabue. You never heard about him. You never heard about Paul Tagliabue.
There you go.
You never heard about him. You've never heard about Paul Tagliabue.
If I see Paul Tagliabue right now, I'd give him the biggest hug I can and say, man, please just come back, man. Just come back.
And he was so cool.
Yeah, he was cool.
So cool. You never heard about him, except it was like something big. Like if it was something major, he came down, he made his decision, and that was that, and you moved on, and that was that. Every other day, it's Roger Goodell is saying something, and I mean, like you said, Law, it's all about money and politics and fame and fortune and who looks good, and it ain't even about football no more. It just seems like it's all about the money. It gets disgusting at times that the purity of football just seems like it's gone at times, because I'm sorry, I grew up in the 70s, and I saw the purity, to me, of football, where it was just straight football. They played, and it wasn't all that extra stuff on the outside. They just went out there and they played the game, and it was real. Now it just seems like there's always some kind of politics. You see with the Jerry Jones thing, got to pay back $2 million for legal fees. And it's like, man, we can't never concentrate on the game because it's something on the outside always distracted.
The Dallas Prospect is doing happy hour. Join us Thursday, March 22nd at Mexico Restaurant and Club in Plano, Texas, as we host happy hour and do a live remote and meet and greet. Tell them you're there for the Dallas Prospect and you'll receive exclusive food and drink specials with happy hour pricing for the whole night and entrees as low as $5. In attendance will be Law Nation, Big Game James, Derek Kirby, and our special guest, Computer from 3-6 Mafia. Shirts and other merch will be available for purchase, so come out, have a drink with your favorite Dallas Prospect hosts, and don't wait. RSVP today. Let's make it happen.
Yes, indeed. Last week we touched on a topic with the marijuana usage, right? And we talked on a few other things. The NFL are problematic with with their own negative press. A lot of this stuff, if you like you say, you got a household. I think your mama or somebody in your household said, hey, what happened in his house stays in his house. You don't have to broadcast to the world and say, hey, such and such uncle staying in the basement, or John, cousin John, he got one eye. We don't have to put all that stuff out there. We understand that family members supposed to keep stuff inside, internally, keep this stuff in-house. A lot of times with the PED uses, I do understand baseball had their little problem situation with that. We understand that. But how on one end, just like last year when they suspended David Irvin, he appealed, whatever it may have been, and all of a sudden he still get the 4 game suspension. And then we talking about Ezekiel Elliott's situation, he still get the suspension, although he was shown innocent and what have you. A lot of this stuff, man, can be just swept under the rug. It could be one of those things where they can just sit you down and say, okay, all right, we understand that you have a substance abuse issue, or we understand that it looks bad as far as domestic violence, and we understand that you probably lift up this girl's skirt, or lift up this girl's shirt and showed her tatas and all this stuff. But what they have to do with the NFL is have a PR guy to just internalize all this stuff and say, okay, this is what we're going to have to do to answer to the people that's going out there doing all the talking. Because at the same time, the NFL cover up the aspect where they was giving everybody these, I forgot the name of the drug, but they're getting everybody this, and they was covering up the
Adderall?
Yeah, they was giving the players that, and they was covering up the CTE. Is it CTE, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're covering up all this other stuff, and now that it's out of the hat. But look at the other hand that you was doing. You're putting marijuana out there. You're putting this out there. You suspending guys for this and that. Look, NFL, all you have to do is just don't broadcast everything. That's all I have to say on that,
So consider this too. So the NFL fining Jerry, it sounds like $2 million. What was the spin they put on that? Basically, that it was conduct detrimental to the league and everything, because Jerry brought this thing and he, kind of put it out there in the public and everything like that. That's what they're charging him with, and yet, as far as this multi-million-dollar fine, they're doing the same exact thing. So it's like a weird hypocritical thing where it's like, hey man, you brought this out into the public. Now excuse us while we bring this out into the public that we're going to fine you heavily and everything like that. Like, it's a weird cycle where I think obviously they have to know that, like, it can't just be right when they do it, but not when Jerry does it or something like that. I think it's part of it's just wanting to, kind of send a message with it. But at the same time, I think it's a matter of just trying to bury all the bad Cowboys news and everything the last year, where they're wanting to kind of put the nail in the coffin on that. And man, who knows? I mean, what's to say that they aren't kind of suggesting too that, Steven kind of step forward a little bit and Jerry kind of take a step back, go to the back seat, as you were mentioning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, that right there, what you just said, Derek, that's something to really think about. I never really saw that end. Like, maybe they might be pushing Jerry out and pushing Steven to the forefront, because I see a lot more talking. And when I posted the interview with Stephen Jones, he was about a 25-minute interview where he was basically talking about all those subjects. The first question Jane Slater asked him was, "What's up? What's going on with the Jerry situation?" I don't know. I can read body language and eyes and faces and all that stuff pretty good. And I know when they asked him that question, Stephen Jones instantly got red-faced, mad, and angry in his face and said, "You know what? I ain't talking about that. You just go ahead and ask Jerry about that." So obviously it's something big and deep that's going on. But like you said, I have never seen Stephen Jones talk this much ever. That's just the biggest thing to me. Jerry Jones is always coming out. If anything, we're talking about any kind of players on the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones has always got one thing or something to say about that player, and then Stephen Jones follows him with something behind that. Now you don't even see Jerry talking. Now all you're seeing is, if they ask anything about Cowboys, it's Stephen Jones talking about it. And that's something that's real curious that whenever it's going to happen within the next year with the Dallas Cowboys with that ownership, because somebody said to me it was a misprint, but when they had that committee, the rules committee, It had it had all the people that were on the committee, and it said owner of the Dallas Cowboys. It said Stephen Jones. Somebody hit me up and said that was a misprint. I didn't say nothing about it because I got it off the official site.
Yeah.
Hey, it could be one of those things, man. But you know, who knows? What are your thoughts on Stephen Jones running his mouth about Orlando Scandrick and stuff like that?
I mean, I guess right now I'm kind of in the I don't know how to take Stephen. Part of me likes the hard line approach. Okay, I like how you're coming hard with the players. Like, okay, this is what we're trying to do, and this is what we're trying to do. I get that and understand that. But then you come back and you don't do nothing with free agency. It's kind of like, I like how you're doing it, but come on, man. You've been around football long enough to daggone well know you need some free agents, and you can't just live off your players in the draft. You need to sprinkle some real, not Benson Mayoas, okay, not Alfred Morris's, okay, not Nolan Carroll's, you know what I'm saying, Cedric Thornton's, not those guys, okay? And you know damn well, because you've been around football long enough, Stephen Jones, to know that you got to get one of those critical players. Now, if Marcus Peters, and I know he had problems, okay, we get that, but if Marcus Peters can go for a fourth and a second, and he's all world, I don't care he got an attitude, but the boy is all world as far as what he's brought to the table. You can't tell me Dallas Cowboys going to fall off because we gave up a second round pick next year. You can do that, Steven. You can manipulate those draft picks and get somebody up in there because those other teams do value draft picks too. You know what I'm saying? You saw the Giants were talking about they may give up, they're willing to listen to trade up that second pick. Those things can happen. Don't get scared with the wheeling and dealing because you can make a deal that can change the whole prospect of your team. It did it with Haley. So you can get one player and it can change the whole aspect of your team. We know that.
Everybody have reasons, right? Everybody have results too as well. And if your reasoning doesn't equate to a profitable result, then you're going to have the same mundane thing over and over and over again.
TheDallasProspect.com. We might be the new kids on the block, but just watch. We're going to be the best independent sports entertainment network in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.